Let's get into it tonight, shall we? Is Miami coming? Is that hurricane momentum that I actually feel? Now, again, as I said on the beginning of the show, a lot of this program over the past couple of months when we've talked recruiting has obviously centered on Alabama or Clemson or Ohio State. And a lot of it has also had to do, coincidentally, with those teams going into Florida and taking elite players, which has led me to say that one of the biggest things to watch in this sport is if Florida State, Florida, or Miami, one of them gets their act together and ends up keeping that in-state talent at home. Not every one of them, but who down there capitalizes? Because it's wide open right now. It's there. The talent is there for the taking. And so there's an undercurrent with every program. Miami's no different. There's an undercurrent that you cannot see at 50,000 feet. You cannot just crack open a preview magazine. You can't just watch SportsCenter and know college football at the nuanced, granular level. You gotta be in touch with the undercurrent. This is the blog culture. This is the donor culture. This is the message board culture. You can make fun of it if you want to, but a lot of times the information's there 48, 72 hours before it's national. So with Miami, the reason I say all that is there is an undercurrent around this program. There has been for, I would say, over a year now, but more specifically, about the last month or so, there's been this quiet undercurrent groundswell. You haven't felt it if you live in Kentucky. You haven't felt it in Nebraska regarding Miami. But if you're close to the program, you've felt it. So if you're in touch with that, you can already be ahead of the curve. Where is it coming from, though? Well, let me take you back to last year. This is the reason I said in some ways it's over a year old. I remember when Manny Diaz got hired there, did a lot regarding Miami on our show. At the time it was independent, but I also talked to a lot of people at Miami, and everyone there was very excited because they felt kind of like Louisiana folks feel about Ed Orgeron. They felt like one of theirs was home, and they felt like they had a guy who understood what it takes to win at Miami, and maybe the blueprint there and the formula there, maybe it's a little bit different than what it takes to win at Michigan State, for example. And so they were very excited, but what happened was the offense was a disaster at times, could never really get quarterback figured out. It was a turnover fest in week 0 against Florida. I was there for that game. I still think there was like a turnover 5 minutes ago in that game. And so things kind of went off the rails. And as a result, a lot of the national attention waned. And of course, the locals weren't happy with the subpar record, but it was what it was. Well, then you get into the offseason, and a lot of people with proper perspective in Miami circles understand, okay, it didn't happen year one, but the best don't always click in year one. Nick Saban was barely above 500 in year one at Alabama, and he may be the greatest to ever do it. So, big deal. Manny Diaz didn't go to the ACC championship game in year one. Don't worry, we still got the right guy. But you need validation. And here's what the validation is. He makes a move, just like that. He sees that something needs to change offensively, goes and gets Rhett Lashley. Not only that, they see that quarterback's a mess, they go get this young man that Colin's showing you right now if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're not, we're showing you De'Aaron King, who was a star quarterback already at Houston and is going to come in and instantly turn them into a contender, instantly make them capable of winning any game they play. And I do mean any game they play, even ones they may be double-digit underdogs in. Thinking of one on the road in the state of South Carolina specifically this year, because they have that dynamic talent at quarterback. Now, they got some holes still to fill in the roster, but the point is, those were two things immediately that coaching staff, led by Manny Diaz, addressed that made people salivate at the thought of the fact that maybe we do have the right guy here, took decisive action. Well, here's the third component, and here's the one that I'm paying attention to the most right now. Recruiting. That's what it all circles back to. When James Williams surprised a lot of people, yours truly included, by just choosing Miami sort of out of the blue, not that the Canes weren't in it, but it looked like he was going to take his recruitment all the way to signing day. A lot of us thought Georgia led for him. I will tell you readily, I thought Georgia led for him. And all of a sudden, he commits to Miami and makes it a point to say, I'm not leaving the state of Florida, makes it a point to say it's about family, it's about brotherhood. You know the old talking points down there that when Miami's right are more than just talking points. He dropped all those on you, didn't he? And then the attention turned to a couple of other places. We got James Williams. He's staying home, 5-star athlete. What about Jason Marshall? What's he going to do? TBD on that one. It looks like an Alabama-Miami battle there. But the next one you look towards is you look towards Leonard Taylor, who's a 5-star defensive tackle from Miami. They grow on trees, literally, down there. And you ask yourself, where's he going to go? Released a top 2 a couple of weeks back of Florida and Miami. I would lean heavily towards the Hurricanes right now. And then all of a sudden, if that happens, and he's got a commitment date, it's early August. You guys know when it is. It's early August. I should know when it is. August 6th. That's my dad's birthday. That's when it is. So early happy birthday to Dan Pate. And also, possibly happy birthday to Miami. It's not even their birthday. They may just get another huge piece to the future puzzle. And then you're going to hit refresh on those 24/7 Sports team recruiting rankings. And you know who you're going to see in the top 10 all of a sudden? You're going to see Miami. You're going to see the Hurricanes in the top 10. So then I want to take those 3 components, and they will be bathing in the Kool-Aid already in Miami circles if those things continue to happen at the rate they are. But then you have what figures to be one of the most unpredictable and chaotic seasons in the history of college football coming this season. Somebody is going to shock the world this year. Somebody is going to, by virtue of all the insanity, be that program or be one of those programs that put it together and capitalize on the chaos and surprise everyone. Miami's already done it a couple of times on the recruiting trail. I'm just throwing this big fat what if out there. What if the changes at offensive coordinator and the insertion of a dynamic threat at quarterback in De'Aaron King all of a sudden make them a contender and they start winning some of those 50-50 games? And they go into places like Clemson, for example, where they're a double-digit underdog. And even if they don't win, what if they push Clemson to the wire? Of course, an upset would turn the entire conference upside down. But what if Miami is the team this year? On top of all the other stuff, on top of the recruiting momentum, on top of the program momentum, what if it's validated on the football field, not in 2022 or 23? What if it happens in 2020? Wouldn't be the most shocking thing in the world to me. They certainly are not void of adequate talent to get it done. I didn't think they were totally void of it last year. But you got it figured out at quarterback, which we think they do. You got it figured out far more than, by default, a lot of people do in this sport. So got 2 eyes, keeping both of them on Miami right now. Miami momentum. Alliteration is important. Alliteration is important.